So we had Oscars this week. Uh, mm, yeah, yeah. Well, they they famously um, there was a lampoon of Donald Trump that they did. I mean, long time. But it's Sesame Street, so it's long time before he was running for president. But um, yeah, it was like one of the Grouches wanted to evict Oscar from his trash can, and he had the hair and everything. He was very clearly. They even like I don't remember his name, but it was something similar to Trump, like Grump or something. And they were very, yeah, very clearly. It's like Biff from Back to the Future. It was very obvious. Yeah, yeah, he's a bit of an asshole. Hmm, That's that's pretty rude. Do you know why it's called an Oscar? The award. I actually don't know. Um, let me see if I can look it up. Actually, yeah, yeah. I I mean, we can talk about the Oscars themselves if you want. I don't have anything to add to that though because I didn't think of that. I was going with like movies, and I ended up just going with Best Picture because I was thinking, well, this might be easier just to categorize the Academy Awards, you know, for different discussions. But I haven't seen Sinners yet. I did see Weapons though. I really enjoyed Weapons. I thought that was a really fun, uh, crazy horror flick. It's good. Yeah, actually, I watched it on a cruise ship. Yeah, because there was yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. that's not healthy. A little bit of, maybe once a day to clear the pipes, but if it's an all day event, yeah, yeah, that might be something you want to regulate. Yeah, 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 yeah. I yeah. I know a lot of people, younger people probably, watch movies on their phones sometimes. I couldn't do it. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, there is, yeah. There's definitely a connection there that, mhm, yeah. Like I like those movie reaction channels where it's just people reacting to movies. And I remember one a long time ago. She was watching Saving Private Ryan and she ended up watching it on her phone. And I'm like, that is one of the worst ways to watch that movie. You got to watch that movie on a screen. Like, that's a big movie. You got to see it on a screen. Yeah. Yeah. You got to feel the size of that movie. Yeah. Hmm. Well, it's one that I have written down to mention because uh, I'm pretty sure it was Saving Private Ryan that famously lost to Shakespeare in Love. Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah. If ever there was a Best Picture, it should have been that. Like, I remember that year too. Everybody, yeah, going into the Oscars thinking, well, I mean, it's going to be Saving Private Ryan. Everybody knows it's going to be Saving Private Ryan. And then it went to Shakespeare in Love, which is not a bad movie. It's just kind of like, really? It was fine, but Best Picture, yeah, yeah. And it's not like, I don't think big and epic should be a requirement for Best Picture, but I mean, Saving Private Ryan is just kind of a perfect film. Like, that's one that'll be always taught in film classes. You know? Yeah. Which, I mean, I think it was nominated. It just didn't win. And 50 years from now, people will remember Saving Private Ryan. No one's going to remember Shakespeare in Love except for the Oscar thing. Well, sure, if that's your type of movie, but that's a pretty small niche, I think. Sure. But yeah, as far as honorable mentions go, first I should just get Forrest Gump out of the way. I left it off the list because it's we always come around to Forrest Gump, but that's, we yeah, that's why I'll mention it because it did win. And okay, Forrest Gump. We all know what I think of Forrest Gump. So moving on. Oh, maybe. Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I think maybe we should just go down do like we'll do a category a week or something. We don't have to do them back to back, but because there's so many, and yeah, I mean, I only went with Best Picture just to make it easier, and even that was difficult. So, uh, well, well, I guess I'll mention my honorable mentions because there's a lot of them because I didn't know what else am I supposed to do. Uh, that's okay. I think my top three is a solid. I think I'm pretty solid on those, but the honorable mentions are kind of all over the place because I mean, there's a lot of them. Um, so I just kind of went down the list on IMDb, and let's see, we got Argo. Did you ever see Argo? Yeah, yeah, and I believe he directed it. Um, yeah, I mean, it was. Yeah, there's plenty to be said about what the movie was about and the messaging or whatever, or what it got historically right or wrong. Um, no, they. So it's it was like I think a CIA operation where I can't remember what country it was in either. It's a Middle Eastern country, and the there's like a kind of an Arab Spring situation going. It was back in the 70s. Ah, God, I can't remember all the history of it, but it's based on an incident where the CIA had to rescue a bunch of people from an embassy. So to get into the country, they pretended to be a film crew shooting a Star Wars knockoff called Argo, and that was their cover, and that's how they got the people out. And I just think the movie does a really, and him as a director does a really good job of suspense. It was really suspenseful in some parts that I really enjoyed. Um, Best Picture, I don't know. I'd have to see what it was up against, which I didn't look up. Uh, yeah, yeah. Oh God. Okay, yeah, I have some things to say about the fact that I despise that movie. Um, Crash, obviously the one that won the Academy Award, not the earlier movie called Crash about weird car crash fetishist. Yeah. I think that had James Spader in it, didn't it? Um, yeah, I don't like Crash. It's obviously not on my list, but I saw it on the IMDb list, and I was like, "Oh, that's right. That movie did win." And God, I hate that movie for a variety of reasons. But I noticed the Hurt Locker was also on there. I forgot about that, and I have mixed feelings towards that movie. Um, it's a good movie. I just the the shaky cam style was a bit much in that one. So I left it off the list because like narratively, dramatically, it's pretty good. I just did not like the handheld style that was way too gratuitous with the, you know, yeah. Uh, yeah. Um, let's see. I also have the King's Speech. Did you see that one? Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Huh. Yeah. I didn't know that. Yeah. Yeah. And prudishness. But yeah, great movie. I remember when that movie came out, and I remember kind of thinking like, okay, this seems like Oscar bait, and it kind of is, but it's a good movie. It's really good. I love the relationship between the king and his speech therapist guy. Um, it's kind of the strong, kind of the anchor for the movie. It's really good. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Um, mhm. Right. Hmm. Okay. Yeah. But why? Mhm. Dude, every fucking morning I wake up and check my phone. God, I can't wait. But yeah, um, devastated. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Socrates always struck me as one of those, like, if you knew him in person, I probably wouldn't like him much. He sounds kind of like an annoying dick to be around. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, which I mean, I get that. Yeah, he does, and, you know, I mean, obviously, there's value in the ancient philosophers and all that, but, I'll admit when it comes to philosophy, a lot of times I'm just kinda like, "Alright, sure." Mhm. Yeah. Um, but yeah, when it comes to censorship, I have, um I would not say that I am a free speech absolutist. Uh, I think that yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of that comes from our society, um, treating different ideas and different speech as equal, and it's not. Um, mhm, sure. Sure, yeah, there's that element. There's also, the thing that comes top of mind for me is Germany has laws regarding Nazi speech. Uh, why do they have those laws? You know, because of shit that happened already. There are types of speech that, if people are not properly educated against, can can become a huge, huge problem very quickly. Well, yeah, I'm against that too because first of all, IQ test is it's been debunked over and over again. IQ is nonsense. It's bullshit. It's just not a scientific way to measure intelligence. It's just not. Um, and it relies upon someone having y- yeah, yeah, no, someone's intelligence. Yeah, there are ways, but almost every way that I have heard of is going to be fundamentally flawed because you can't account for um, someone's education, because education really doesn't have anything to do with intelligence. It can teach you critical thinking skills, which does make you more intelligent. Uh, but do we even know what raw intelligence even is? You know? Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I value. I'm a very creative person too, but I do value critical thinking as a skill more than anything. Um, mhm, mm, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't consider something like math or science necessarily. Science does require critical thinking skills, but mathematics and say chemistry, where you're following formulas and you're just following steps, that's not necessarily critical thinking because you don't need to question it. You just do the steps and you can get very good at that. That's why you sometimes meet doctors or scientists, very otherwise intelligent people who believe insane stuff about society. Well, yeah, because rote memorization is not the same as like looking at a big picture of society or culture and skeptically analyzing it. Yeah. Yeah. And that coming back to the whole censorship thing, that's where certain types of speech become very, very dangerous if you have a population that does not know how to critically analyze that speech and critically, look at um, the claims that are being made. You know, if you have a really shitty life and your life sucks, and I come along and say it's because of the Mexicans, and you're a moron with no idea of how to critical yeah, like, you're just gonna be like, "Well, they are different looking than me, and they speak different, so, it probably is their fault somehow." And that's where certain speech, I think should it be illegal to be a fascist? Mm, I don't know, as far as, like, the speech goes, like but huh? Yeah, like, I don't think someone should be criminally charged by the government for espousing fascistic or whatever racist beliefs they have, but society and culture should punish them. They should not be speaking on college campuses. They should not be on television. We should hopefully have a society, which we don't, obviously, because look where we are. But, well, you might not, but a lot of people do. And, you know, they're people who have had decades and decades of not just not being taught critical thinking skills, but being taught the opposite, being taught uh, how to think in ways that only supports their already inherent biases. Yeah. Yeah. And now we have a media ecosystem that just, if you believe something, you can just never see anything else that ever challenges that. And that's a really, really bad thing. Yeah, I know you do. And I try to. Um, it is. It's difficult. Um, but I think if you do it long enough, if you have critical and skeptical thinking skills for long enough, a lot of times you don't have to do that much work. There are things that you can hear and you'll be like, okay, well, that's fucking stupid. I'm not going to put the time in to debunk this because it's absurd. And then you move on. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Who benefits? Yep. And if it's rich people that are benefiting from an idea, it's almost always a good bet that it's an evil fucking idea and that you should not do it. Yeah. Hmm. And it brings to mind one word that I think is one of the most damaging words in all of human history. And that's honor. I think honor is one of the most dangerous fucking words we've ever come up with. Mhm. Yeah. 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 Anytime, yeah, anytime, especially as men, anytime that you want to be a good person, you want to have integrity, that's good. But if someone else, especially a group or a system, is telling you what honor is, they're just trying to get you to shoot someone. That's all it is. They just want you to be able to kill. And mhm. Now, that's not to say that violence does not have its place. Sometimes violence. Mhm. Yeah, yeah. My father got into that for a long time. Uh, yeah, he did. Yeah, it was. Oh yeah, he did that for. He did that his whole life. Um, yeah, well, he fancied himself a painter, and yeah, yeah. So, a lot of the paintings in my house that you would have seen growing up were his. Um, yeah. I mean, they were very like Bob Ross type paintings, and they were okay. The only painting that he did that I actually liked, and I really wish that I had been able to get a hold of it after he died. It was one of the only things I wanted. Um, but uh, you know, the way things worked out, I didn't have any access to anything after he died. But uh there was a painting of it was upstairs in the computer room, and it was black and white, and it had three like vertical stripes, three or four vertical stripes down one side of the painting, and on the other was sort of a stylized black silhouette of a person's face looking, a person's profile. And there was always something about that painting that I found unnerving, but I couldn't place my finger on what it was. And then one time he told me the story of that painting. And yeah, it would have been in the late 60s, I think, he had just finished medical school and he had to do a residency in a mental institution. And one night there was this huge storm that rolled in and all the power went out in this asylum. And he was wandering the halls and you could only see when there was a lightning flash. And he remembered looking into one of the rooms, and one of these mental patients was just staring out his barred window when the lightning flashed. And that's the image he had, and he made the painting. And that's my favorite painting my father ever did. And I hate that I wasn't able to get a hold of it when he died, but it is what it is. I could recreate it. I do think I could recreate it from memory. It's a very simple painting, but it looked great. And it was what I loved about it too was it was an insight into my father's life, which my relationship with him is, you know, it's one of the more humanizing things about my father that I can recall. And so there's that element, but also it's just that's what makes it his best painting. The others were just like he's following along with instructions, so they're not really original. But anyway, later in his life, probably around 2009, 2010, he started shotgun painting as a hobby. It didn't last long. He just did it for a little while. Yeah. 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 Uh, anyway, we really got in the weeds here. The Oscars. Well, we can talk about painting. Fuck it. Mhm. Yeah, yeah. 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 Mhm. Like an index card? Yeah. Yeah, I've run into the problem with my writing with, being overcritical and um in fact the one that you read, beta test that was one where I decided like, okay, I have this idea. It's a very loose idea. I'm just going to write and I'll edit, make sure the grammar and punctuation is mostly okay. And then I'm just letting it go. I really am gonna try not to just keep it in a drawer and pick it apart for years, which is what most of my writing is. Um, you know, so yeah, I wrote it. I did a first draft. I went through. I cleaned it up a little bit, but I didn't mess with any story elements that were originally there, and I just put it out there and forgot about it. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I struggle with it a lot. Hmm. Yeah. I have to balance my creative instinct to kind of wander and to try to explore too much, um, too many elements that could go in a story where I'm like, oh, this would work perfectly. But then I'm like, that can go in a different story though. Like I already have a lot here. Um, so I run into that, and then when I'm starting to finish a project, that's where I really have to just kind of have like a Jesus take the wheel moment where I'm like, you know what, fuck it, I did the thing, it's pretty good. Just gonna put it out there and see what happens. You know? Okay. Well, yeah. Um, you're a very literal person, and that is really funny. It's like, yeah, sure. Hmm. Yeah, I have those moments multiple times a day. I work in manufacturing. I have those moments all the time where I'm like, this is an entire machine. This machine that is the size of a bus and has all these incredible moving parts that are very specific to one type of package for one little product. It's it yeah, it is pretty incredible, and it's kind of it can be a little overwhelming sometimes when you tend to think in those terms. So, yeah. 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 Well, and I do use that phrase like Jesus take the wheel. S- a lot of times it's just it's funny. Yeah, it also usually gives people a laugh if they know me and how I feel about, religion and all that. Uh, so there's a sarcastic element to me using the phrase. Um, oh God, yeah, I'm very traumatized. I have a lot of religious trauma. Um, mhm. Yeah, it infects everything. Hmm. Yep. Yeah, okay. That was a good tangent. Yeah. American Beauty. I have that one written down. I have mixed feelings too. Kevin Spacey's awesome as an actor. He's an evil sack of shit. And yeah, maybe. Or he's just a predatory monster from all accounts. And uh I don't know if I'd say that. I mean, there's, you know, it's an industry like any other. Yeah, it's pretty toxic and it's got a lot of terrible things in it. Um, but from what I've read about what happened with him, he was particularly vile for a long time. Like he did some evil shit to people. So yeah, there's a reason. Like, I mean, I don't really like to, you know, the scale when it comes to sexual predators because that it's yeah, it's not a competition. It's pretty gross, but there is a difference between a Weinstein and a Louis C.K. There's a big difference. Uh, and Spacey was much closer to that Weinstein end of the spectrum of evil. Um, and yeah, he was one of the the worst ones that got caught up in the whole Me Too thing, and good. Um, you know, but the reality is he made some fantastic movies and he was a good actor. He was good at what he did. Um, yeah. Yeah, Usual Suspects, Seven. He was really good in Seven, and he's really good in American Beauty. American Beauty, however, if you watch it again, knowing who Kevin Spacey was in real life, it is a very it's even more uncomfortable to watch. Yeah, well, except that it was a girl. That's that's the only deviation really, but yeah, he is a sick dude. And his character in the movie, pretty sick guy. Uh Rot. Yeah. Um mhm. Well, there's something about Suburbia that for me seems to strip away, and the movie I think is about this. There's something about Suburbia that strips away like the meaning of the human experience. Like it's you're at a comfort level where yeah, and you just stagnate and your darker stuff starts to just percolate. Mhm, mhm. Yeah, I mean, if you are in a committed monogamous relationship, that is a very bad thing to do. Now, if you're alone and you put forth the effort to be ethical about it, I have no problem with sex workers. Okay, we can talk about prostitution. I have very strong opinions on prostitution. Well, my ethical framework doesn't include. Uh, mhm. Yeah. Mhm. Well, I uh, so on paper, I do disagree with that. I think sex can just be arbitrary and fun. Be careful, obviously. I mean, there's diseases and stuff, and you don't want to hurt anybody. But uh, there's well, I don't have to be in love with someone to have sex with them. It's just sex. It's a fun thing to do. If you're attracted to someone physically and they're attracted to you physically, fuck it, why not? I mean, do we need to attach love to it? Well, I mean, I know what itch I'm scratching. Like, I mean, it's the second most powerful biological urge. We're wired to want to have sex. And I think that sex w- without love is still a very beautiful thing. Um, it can get obviously problematic and dark and evil if someone doesn't have a moral or ethical framework that they're already working from. Um, well, yeah, and that's actually why I said on paper I disagree with you, because if we're just looking at, because it sounds like what you're saying is that you should be in a relationship or be in love with someone to have sex with them. I don't believe that. I do have love for my fellow human beings just generally. Um, I love, you know, beautiful women and beautiful men, and I have sex with them. That does not mean I love them, though. Like, that's different. Well, yeah, I mean, if we're talking, say, prostitution, then uh yeah, the first trigger is going to be physical. Do I find that person attractive physically? Because that's what I'm here for. This is a transaction. Um, but I also have to weigh, when it comes to prostitution specifically, I have to weigh ethical questions, because there's human trafficking. There's you know I have to make sure that, yeah, like, is this actually consensual, and is this person actually um, doing this on their own terms? And if they are, then yeah, it's you're paying for a service, and I don't see anything wrong with that. You know, human beings enjoy sex. People get lonely, uh, and there's well, no, it's not an answer to loneliness, but you know, when you're sick, you definitely want to treat the disease, but you got to treat the symptoms too. And you know, I've been in lonely places in my life, and I can tell you that you know a visit to a prostitute every 6 months or so can actually get you through quite a lot of dark places in your life, because you had few moments of human connection that you don't otherwise get, I think that can be healthy if you're careful and if you consider the ethics. Hmm. Yeah, and I do that too. Um, and I mean, really, prostitution can be a form of escapism too, um, especially depending on kind of what your tastes are. Uh, yeah, there absolutely is. Um, because you can pay a sex worker to engage with you in this way, and part of their skill set is to at least let you feel desirable, even though they might not find you that attractive. But if they're good at yeah, if they're good at what they do, they're going to make you feel that, and you have to be mature enough to know that that's what you're paying for, and it, that's a problem. That's a problem. You cannot, you know, if you're going to engage in sex work as a customer, you that comes with a lot of responsibility. You gotta just be a good dude and be fucking mature about it. Like, know that you're paying for this service, and yeah. But then we all know that guy. No, the stripper really did like me. All right. Like, sure she did. You know, and maybe she did, but she didn't like you like that. Like, of course, as they should. You know, there are boundaries that absolutely have to be respected. Um, you know, especially in that line of work, any sex work, stripping, prostitution, whatever. Um, parasocial stuff. If you're on OnlyFans or something like that, like, yeah, there's boundaries. Yeah, go for it. I mean, well, I mean, you know, just be careful. There's ways that you can be promiscuous and very sexually active and still be relatively safe if you just are smart about it, you know. Yeah. I mean, uh I mean, a lot of them just are like streamers or whatever. They just film in their bedroom and, you know. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Um there's Titanic and Braveheart. Those both won. Both excellent movies. Yeah. Um which I think we've discussed Braveheart before. Um I don't know. That's a good question. That would have been what, in the 70s? Hmm. Well, yeah. Jim Caviezel played Jesus in that one. Yeah. Uh, I'm not seeing it. I'm all the way back to 1967, and of course, this list is just Best Picture. Uh, yeah. Oh, they've been yeah, long, long time. Uh, Ben Hur, The Apartment, West Side Story. I actually rewatched West Side Story recently. It holds up. That's a great fucking movie. Lawrence of Arabia is a pretty good movie. It's a bit meandering, a bit long. Yeah, yeah. Of course, you got The Godfather in 1972. The Godfather 2. I mean, these are films that completely changed the landscape. Rocky in 1976. I did not realize that Rocky won. I thought it won like best screenplay, and maybe it did, but I didn't realize it won best picture. Oh yeah, no. Well, best picture would be best picture overall. It's you can have an excellent screenplay, and if you got a terrible editor, you know, um, 1990 was Dances with Wolves, which actually probably should be on my top three. That's one of my all-time favorite movies. I love that movie. Um, 1991 was Silence of the Lambs, which actually I'll just get into my list because Silence of the Lambs is on there. Um, Number three, I went with No Country for Old Men, um, which, yeah, we've discussed that one before. Um, Birdman? Oh, Bergman. Okay, I was thinking Oscar because Birdman was one of the best pictures, which, okay, it's a good movie, but I didn't care for it. Um, um, Michael Keaton, yeah. And I did appreciate that it kind of revived his career. I'm glad that because I love Michael Keaton, and it's nice to see him again after a long time of not really seeing much of him. Um, but yeah, I got Silence of the Lambs for my number two, which is another one we've discussed before, and I mean it's my number one villain. So um, yeah, and then my number one. Uh, I put Schindler's List because I think that's one of the best movies ever made. It's got if you're like strict about the historical accuracy, it's got some issues, but whatever. We definitely can't list Braveheart if that's the case. So I let that go. But uh, overall, okay. What did they? And they were in the Oscars. Oh, okay. We're doing Oscars here. Yeah. It's not what? Oh, yeah. I didn't hear you. What? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. 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 Which that is a category, I think. Um, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Speaking of foreign films, did you see Parasite? Because that's one of the latest ones that won. Yeah. Yeah. It was really good. I have It's not a criticism of the movie, but it's one of those movies that it's one of those movies I think we all have a bias towards it when we watch it, towards one side or the other. And I think certain people, especially the ones who identify more with the wealthy people in the movie, are going to really miss a lot of the points and really, I'm thinking of certain family members that I have that if they watch that movie, they'd be like, "Yeah, yeah, that's accurate. I mean, poor people are pieces of shit that'll take advantage of you. That's yup." So it's kind of like Fight Club, where it's like this is a very interesting satirical message that it's sending, and about toxic masculinity, and then toxic men completely miss the point and just embrace, you know, yeah, yeah, which they always conveniently ignore, and the whole Jesus, you know, going after the money changers thing. Yeah, yeah, um, yeah, especially the prostitutes. I mean, they're lovely people who provide a valuable service. So, um, well, yeah, and that's going back to our previous conversation, but you got to be ethical about it. And, you know, um, mhm. um, Speaking of intimate connections, did you see Shape of Water? Yeah, that one won in 2017. I didn't realize that one had won. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I enjoyed it. It's about, so like the creature from the Black Lagoon. Um, it's about kind of one of those types of monsters, and then this woman meets it in like a government lab. She's like cause kinda, yeah. And she falls in love, and they fuck, and it's a very strange kind of hentai type situation. They don't show anything really, um, but it doesn't get graphic or anything like that. It's much more, um, yeah, to the point where it bends reality. Like there's like when her and the creature first hook up and make love or whatever. Like she floods her apartment to the point where like they're underwater the whole time, and she lives on the second story. It doesn't make logical sense, but it's a representation of what the characters are feeling and that kind of thing. It's one of those types of very kind of um, uh, a little more, yeah, allegorical and symbolism and all that. But you got Michael Shannon as the villain, and that guy's awesome when he plays a villain. Um, just a terrifying dude. Like on sight, you're like, that guy makes me uncomfortable. I'm sure he's a lovely person, but yeah, Michael Ironside. Michael Ironside is a little more like angry uncle energy, like yeah, you kind of expect him at any moment to just start shouting about immigrants during Thanksgiving dinner. Whereas Michael Shannon just has that look where you're like, this guy's gonna fucking kill me for any arbitrary reason at any moment. He's yeah, he's a scary looking dude. Um, and he's not like big and buff or anything. He looks like he's actually kind of a small guy, but it's the eyes. He has kind of big, buggy eyes, and hmm yeah, yeah. Well, plus, I mean, in Watchmen, you got that prison scene, which really solidifies like this is a dangerous motherfucker. Um, the hot oil to the face. That, oof, yeah, yeah. He was pretty good. Um, let's see. We got Moonlight. That one in 2016. I saw that one. Um, that one was very, very good. Did you see that? Mm. No, no, no. It's Moonlight, and it's about this dude who is raised like in the inner city, and he's African American. He's raised in the inner city, a lot of crime and gangs and stuff, and he's gay, and it, but he still has to maintain that like kind of tough guy, ultra masculine stereotype shit. He has to maintain that while also being undeniably gay, and uh, yeah, it's a really good movie. Um, I recommend it because I mean that's not a comfortable place to be. That's it's a bad situation. Mhm. Yeah, see, and you just that's a movie you can't even. I wouldn't even want to hear their opinions on that because it has black people in it, and one of them's gay. Like, mhm. Yeah, yeah, there's you can't. You can't. There's no point in even trying. You just have to, you know, nah, not me. I'm done with all that. I'm so over it. You know, on an individual level, society should not stop trying to reach these people, sure. But ultimately, we're at a place now where we just have to move ahead despite them. Find a way to just push them where they belong to the fringes of society and they can scream their heads off out in a field with their other redneck buddies. Fuck them. Unfortunately, there's, fucking 70 million of them. But yeah, it's yeah, man. Poisons everything. I mean, it's kind of on topic. I brought up Moonlight, and it deals with you know a very specific. Uh, yeah, it deals with a very specific. I went off on rednecks, but this is still something that it's a place in American society that you would not want to be gay. Um, and you know, it just kind of deals with that. Okay. Hmm. 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 Yeah, yeah. But you throw poverty into that mix, and it becomes very difficult. I know plenty of queer people that would do anything to get out of where we live, but you got to have money to move. Yeah, you live in a city. Yeah, yeah. And that's right. But that's privilege. That's what people are referring to when they say privilege. Like you have the opportunity to do that and the freedom and the means to do that, and a lot of people don't. Um, and yeah, yeah. Mm. Um, I don't let's see. Let me list here. Um, did you pick this one? Oscars? Okay. Yeah. We could do femme fatales. That could be a fun one. No, we haven't done that one. And I don't know if I've ever really I love a femme fatale, but I don't know if I've ever tried to pick favorites. Um, nah, that's a lot easier. Yeah. Yeah, which one does the weird shit that I like? That's it. That's my favorite. Um, yeah, femme fatales. It's funny, I'm right in the middle of The Expanse right now. I'm, like, on season 3. It's a good show. It's a really good show, but there's a character on there, Drummer, who is, no, that's Miller. So, Drummer is she is a belter, and she's with, Fred Johnson. Do you remember him? The black guy that was building the Mormon, spaceship for the Mormons? Um, anyway, she's like his right-hand man, or right-hand woman, and yeah, yeah, anyway, As far as femme fatales, I'm fucking obsessed with her. She's amazing. Because she's that exact kind of woman that I'm attracted to. The one that you're like, oh, this bitch is dangerous. So please destroy my life. Yeah. 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 Yeah, let's do femme fatales. I think that'll be a fun one. Yeah, you too. Yeah. This time next week. Alrighty. See you then.